guest, Will.
She's just saying that.
No, I actually really mean it most of the time. But we are actually celebrating the 4th of July kind of in a weird way. We are doing cutback of perennials. Hopefully you guys are maybe doing something a little different than that, maybe a little more fun. However, I do think that if you take the time at this time of the year to cut back your perennials, you will get great rewards later in the season. And Will, when I think about cutting back perennials, I kind of put it in a few different categories. And one of them is deadheading. And I'm looking at this salvia. This is a gorgeous salvia. What is this one? This is Marvel Sky Blue. And can you just kind of explain to people why deadheading is important and how you kind of do it on a plant like this?
Well, deadheading is something you can do on a plant like this to kind of keep it looking at its peak for longer. You can see you've got this big, beautiful flower here, but it's starting to go by, and we've got a couple more coming behind here, a couple lateral buds either side. So on plants like salvia, and you can even apply this to your shrubs like butterfly bush, you just go between them and you kind of step out that one, and that'll really kind of take away the energy that was going here and help these flowers get big and full.
Okay, so that's important because I think a lot of people, like once the flower goes by, they're like, I'm not sure what to do. But yes, if you deadhead it, it'll definitely promote more bloom on this plant. And also a lot of times people with some, I know with some you can cut them all the way down, but this happens to be one you don't want to cut it all the way down to the base here. Another way that I think about cutting back your perennials is for shaping. So that kind of brings in our sedum here and our Montauk daisies. And tell me, Will, how is that important and what do we do for shaping? What?
So sedum and Montauk's are kind of the few of the perennials that you treat almost like shrubs during the growing season. With sedum, you just want to pinch back the blooms a couple of times through the year. That way they bloom a little later into fall, and the branches get fuller and thicker. It keeps the plants from kind of flopping over.
Yeah, they kind of splurge, I think, in the center sometimes.
Yeah, they start to get a little yucky would be the way you would put it. They fall apart.
Yeah.
So if you pinch them back, that's going to encourage a lot of nice upward growth. Now on the Montauk's here, these can do the same thing, but we treat them very differently. Rather than pinching them back occasionally, that one before the 4th of July, so I hope everybody did this before they got into their mojitos, is you want to cut them back about halfway. That way they stay nice and upright, they push out some growth, and they really look awesome for your fall bloom.
Okay, so as long as we just use that 4th of July date as kind of like our marker, then we can definitely still shape sedum by nipping, and we can shape the Montauk daisy by really cutting it back even by halfway, you said?
Yep.
Okay, that will really keep a beautiful shape and kind of push the bloom off a little longer, so you have a great succession blooming in your garden. Okay, but now this is what I think most people may not know, and I think one of the biggest surprises about perennials is that we can also cut perennials back at this time of the year and actually get a rebloom, get like a second bloom. And so you have some plants here to show as examples, and give us a little bit more information about that.
So you can do this with a lot of your perennials, especially your early season interest, your late spring, early summer perennials. You can cut back and get another round of blooms, both through in the middle of the summer and again through the fall. That's going to hold true for plants like catmint, like that salvia, and like these plants that we have over here. You can clearly see this agastache, hummingbird mint,
looking a little sad.
A little sad.
It's a little sad.
This lamium's definitely getting tired. And this yarrow is just,
that poor
it's
yarrow.
unhappy.
Like, I would actually think that this had no more hope, but there is still hope for this.
Oh, there's definitely a lot of hope for this, and actually your care on that's going to be pretty easy.
Okay.
So I'll kind of rotate the yarrow to the front here so everybody can see it. All you're doing with this yarrow, gather it up, grab it by the hair, if you will, and you're going to take it back to about 3 inches high.
All right, so it's okay to be, like, that aggressive with it.
Oh, yeah.
I think this would scare some people at home, but actually, by cutting off those dead flowers, what's going to happen now?
Well,
what are we
now,
going to see?
once you do that and you fertilize, you're going to want to use a slow-release fertilizer.
Definitely refertilize, because the combination of pruning and fertilizing really pushes new growth and new bloom.
You're going to want to get that around the edge of the plant. You don't want to put it right on top of the middle of it, but then within a couple of weeks to a month, you'll have a plant that's coming back up and looks pretty great.
So see, you guys, it is so worth it to cut back your perennials. All right, Will, for the lamium, that's a little different because it's kind of so low growing, and I feel like, I don't know if people would know exactly where to cut this back. Like, I can see some of these leaves are yellowish, but then there's some pretty green growth in here. So what would we do in this case?
So you've got a little growth coming from the center on your lamium. All you want to do on this one is you cut it back around the edges here.
Okay.
Kind of get rid of this old, tired, kind of yellowy, sickly looking growth.
Okay, and we don't have to be super dainty about this. You
No.
can see Will is just getting in there and chopping it up. So
this is what perennials do. They're herbaceous. They grow back quick. They're low maintenance.
they're hardy.
They're hardy. They're
Okay.
supposed to grow back. So we've cleaned it up. Again, fertilize. And then this little bit that you see growing here is eventually going to be this plant right here.
You guys, I honestly think that is amazing, and I think a lot of people don't really know that about perennials, that it's not just one and done with a lot of perennials. They can start to look kind of yucky, as to say, and then you can actually give them new life by this pruning and fertilization. Thank you so much, Will. Thanks a bunch. See you next time.
Have a good one. I got these for you.
Aw.